Towards the night, everything changed. A soft breath, then slowly. Marcus Thompson was 48 years old the night he found Officer Sarah Chen bleeding out in the rain. He'd been working the night shift at Henderson Medical Supply for 6 years now, since his wife passed and he needed the extra income to keep his 2 teenage sons in their small brick house on Maple Street. It wasn't glamorous work, but it was honest. And Marcus had built his whole life on being honest. Pause. The rain that October night came down in sheets, the kind that turns streets into mirrors and makes the world feel smaller somehow. Marcus was driving home at 2 in the morning, his windshield wipers working overtime, when he saw something in the road up ahead. Not something. Someone. Gentle transition. He pulled over without thinking, the way his mother had raised him to do, the way he'd raised his boys to do. You see someone who needs help, you help. Simple as that. The figure was a woman in a police uniform lying face down in the puddles, her radio crackling weakly beside her. Blood pooled around her shoulder, washing away in the rain even as it flowed. "Ma'am." Marcus dropped to his knees beside her, his work pants soaking through instantly. "Ma'am, can you hear me?" A moment of quiet urgency. She turned her head slightly. Young, maybe 30. Asian features, her dark hair matted with rain and blood. Her nameplate read Chen. "Shot," she whispered. Pulled over a car. Didn't see the second man. Marcus's hands were already moving, his Army medic training from 25 years ago flooding back like it was yesterday. He pressed his jacket against her shoulder, applied pressure, grabbed her radio. "Officer down," he said into the static. "Corner of Industrial Boulevard and 5th Street. GSW to the shoulder. I need an ambulance now." Slow, steady. The dispatcher's voice crackled back, asking questions, sending help. But Marcus barely heard. He was focused on Sarah Chen's face, on keeping her awake, on keeping her alive. "What's your name?" he asked gently. "Sarah," she breathed. "Sarah Chen. I'm Marcus." "I've got you, Sarah. You're going to be fine. I need you to stay with me, okay? Tell me about your family." Pause for emotional weight. She tried to smile through the pain. "Mom and Dad wanted me to be a doctor. Became a cop instead. They still haven't forgiven me." Marcus kept pressure on the wound, feeling her blood warm against his cold hands. Parents are like that sometimes. They worry. "My boys want to play basketball professionally. I worry every day, but I'm proud of them anyway." "How old?" Sarah whispered. 16 and 14. Good kids. A little knucklehead sometimes, but good hearts. Gentle pacing. The ambulance arrived in 7 minutes, though it felt like 7 hours. The paramedics took over, but Marcus rode with them to Henderson General, his hands still covered in Sarah's blood, his heart still racing. In the emergency room waiting area, still in his soaked clothes, Marcus waited. Not because anyone asked him to, but because leaving felt wrong somehow, like walking away from something unfinished. A breath. That's where Captain David Rodriguez found him 3 hours later, as dawn was breaking gray and tired through the hospital windows. "You Marcus Thompson?" the captain asked. He was a broad-shouldered man in his 50s with silver threading through his dark hair and eyes that had seen too much. Marcus stood, suddenly conscious of how he must look. "Yes, sir. I'm Captain Rodriguez, Sarah Chen's supervisor." He extended his hand and Marcus shook it. "The doctors say you saved her life. If you'd been 5 minutes later," he didn't finish the sentence. He didn't need to. Emotional warmth entering the voice. "I just did what anyone would do," Marcus said quietly. Captain Rodriguez's expression changed then, something sad and knowing crossing his face. "That's where you're wrong, Mr. Thompson. A lot of people would have driven right past. Especially these days, especially..." He stopped, but Marcus understood what he wasn't saying. Especially a black man helping a police officer, in a time when tensions ran so high that every interaction felt weighted with history and fear. Pause. "She needed help," Marcus said simply. That's all that mattered. Slow, reflective. The story should have ended there. Marcus should have gone home, changed his clothes, maybe gotten a thank you card in the mail. But sometimes life surprises you. 3 days later, Marcus was at work when his supervisor called him to the front office. Standing there in full dress uniform was Sarah Chen, her arm in a sling, her face still pale but determined. Beside her stood Captain Rodriguez and 6 other officers. A moment for listeners to absorb. "Mr. Thompson," Sarah said, her voice stronger than it had been that rainy night, "I wanted to thank you personally. The doctor said another few minutes and I wouldn't have made it." Marcus felt his face warm. "I'm just glad you're okay." "It's more than that," Captain Rodriguez stepped forward. "We'd like to present you with the Civilian Medal of Valor, and we'd like to do something else." He nodded to Sarah, who pulled out an envelope with trembling fingers. "We took up a collection," she said softly. "The whole department. We know you work nights to support your sons. We know one of them, Joshua. He's been accepted to that basketball training camp, but it's expensive." Marcus felt his throat tighten. How did they know about that? About the brochure that sat on his kitchen counter? About the dreams his boy had and the money Marcus didn't have? Gentle, emotional pacing. "We want to help," Sarah continued. "Because you helped me. Because you didn't see a uniform that night. You saw a person who needed you and you didn't hesitate." The envelope contained a check. Marcus's vision blurred as he saw the amount. "Enough for the camp. Enough for both his boys to attend. I can't—" he started. "You can," Captain Rodriguez said firmly, "and you will. Because that's what community means. Taking care of each other. You showed us that." A breath. But the real shock came 2 weeks later, at the police department's annual community dinner. Marcus had been invited along with his sons, Joshua and Elijah, both wearing the ties they kept for church and special occasions, both trying to look older than they were. Sarah Chen approached their table with her parents, an older Chinese couple, her father in a neat suit, her mother in an elegant dress. "Mom, Dad," Sarah said, her voice clear and strong, "this is Marcus Thompson, the man who saved my life." Pause for emotional weight. Sarah's father bowed slightly, his eyes moist. When he spoke, his accent was heavy, but his words were clear. "Thank you for giving us our daughter back." Her mother simply took Marcus's hand in both of hers and held it, saying nothing because nothing needed to be said. "She told us," her father continued, "how you stayed with her, how you kept her talking, how you didn't leave even after the ambulance came." He paused, gathering himself. "She told us you have sons, that you work hard for them, that you are a good man." Slow, warm. He reached into his jacket and pulled out a business card. "I own a medical equipment company. Not as big as some, but we do good work. I heard you work at Henderson Supply. Loading dock?" Marcus nodded, unsure where this was going. "I need an operations manager, someone I can trust, someone with character." He pressed the card into Marcus's hand. "Better hours, better pay. You could be home with your boys." Emotional warmth. Marcus looked at the card, then at Sarah, then at this family that had welcomed him without question. "Sir, I don't know what to say." "Say you'll think about it," Sarah's mother said softly, speaking for the first time. "Our daughter is alive because of your kindness. Let us be kind in return." A moment of reflection. Joshua, Marcus's older son, leaned close and whispered, "Dad, you gonna cry?" Marcus laughed, wiping his eyes. "Maybe a little, son. Sometimes kindness hits you right in the heart." Gentle conclusion. 6 months later, Marcus stood in the gymnasium of Lincoln High School, watching Joshua play in the regional championship. His new job gave him the flexibility to make every game. Elijah sat beside him, already growing taller than his big brother. In the row behind them sat Sarah Chen, back on full duty, and her parents. Captain Rodriguez and his wife were there too. They'd all become something Marcus never expected. Family in the way that matters most. Not blood, but choice. Not obligation, but love. Pause. As Joshua made the winning shot, as the crowd erupted and Marcus's voice joined the celebration, he thought about that rainy night. About how close he'd come to driving past, to not getting involved, to letting fear or caution keep him from doing what was right. Soft, reflective. Sarah leaned forward and squeezed his shoulder. "Thank you," she said again, though she'd said it 100 times before. "For what?" Marcus asked, genuinely curious. "For reminding all of us what we're supposed to be," she said, Human beings first. Everything else second. A final gentle breath. Marcus nodded, watching his son celebrate with his teammates, watching Elijah cheer and dance in a way only 14-year-olds can. He thought about his late wife, about how proud she'd be, about how one moment of kindness had rippled outward, touching so many lives. "We're all we've got," he said quietly. "Might as well take care of each other." And in that small-town gymnasium, surrounded by people who'd become family through grace and kindness and the simple act of showing up when someone needed help, Marcus Thompson understood something profound. Strength isn't in the uniform you wear or the color of your skin. It's in the courage to kneel down in the rain beside someone who's suffering and stay until help arrives. Tierney Baumeier.